Hello and welcome back to my Satisfactory guide. Train signals are broken, but only to the unexperienced pioneer. Yes, they're kind of buggy and sometimes don't quite work the way you'd expect, but I have done extensive testing on them and will not only show you how to fix them, but I'm gonna break down the reasons behind the issues so that you never run into them ever again. And what I found might surprise you. I have pinpointed 7 distinct underlying issues that were responsible for all of my problems, but I consider only 3 of them to be actual bugs. And we will go through them one by one, but before we move on, please consider hitting that subscribe button to keep receiving useful tips and deep dives just like this. Signal placement. The first issue you might encounter is not being able to place the signal where you want it on the track. You need to understand how the rail itself is divided into segments. This rail was built out of multiple minimum length segments, which is 12 meters by the way, and you can clearly see that the signal is only allowed to be placed at a division between them. However, now you can have a single long undivided segment of the same total length, and you will be allowed to place your signal wherever you want, as long as it's not within 12 meters of the edge. Sadly, placing the signal will permanently divide the rail into segments, so now even if you delete the signal and try to place it again, you will be forced to place it in the same segment division, as the rail is now divided at that point. To get around this limitation, there's no other way than deleting the rail and placing it again. So next time you can't place a signal where you wanted it, know that you will not be able to place signals closer than 12 meters of a segment division, and that is the likely cause of your issue. And bear in mind that junctions will cause unavoidable divisions in the rail. The next thing is the direction. For some reason, if your track has inflections on it, so if you make like an S-shaped track, you will have a hard time switching the direction of your signal. The direction of the signal is indicated by this arrow on top of the track, not by which side the signal is placed on, and you can normally switch it by using the scroll wheel. In some cases, like the one mentioned before, the game will not allow you to do it, but fear not, you can easily get around it. Just place it in the wrong direction, and afterwards it will allow you to place it in the correct orientation as well, and you can just delete the wrong one after. End of the line broken signal. Now there's something else you need to understand about signals. They don't play well on incomplete rail systems. You will sometimes get the error message block has no exit signal. By the way, if you didn't know, you can press E to configure a broken signal and it will give you a reason why it doesn't work. And this might be the only message that actually helps you identify the issue. A signal will always be broken if the block after it doesn't end with another signal. So if you have an unfinished rail, the last signal will always be broken, even if placed correctly. This is something you should take note of while building junctions, as you might think something is wrong, like in this situation here, when in fact everything is just fine, just incomplete. And that's why I recommend a specific order while signaling a junction. 1. Make sure that you have signals further along the line after all exits. If not, extend the rails if needed and place a temporary block signal just for show. It will be broken since it's placed at the end of the line, but it's only temporary. 2. Start adding all the real exit block signals just after the junction. They should immediately be green after step 1, so no confusion. 3. Add the entrance signals. These can be either block or path signals. After doing this, your junction will be properly divided and your signals will be okay, except the temporary ones of course, and you can use this for any kind of junction, no matter how complex it is. At the end of this video, I will show you how to properly signal and debug issues with a large cross junction, and you will be able to apply all the knowledge you've gathered today. But what happens if you do it the other way around? And by that I mean if you put the exit block first and then add the temporary end of the line signs. Well, nothing, it should work fine. But when you place the entry signal, it looks like it hasn't divided the rail into blocks properly. This is a lie, it actually is divided, just the same color. Don't believe me? Drive a train through it and watch the signal change. It's at worst distracting but functionally okay. But can we actually break it? Yes we can, by placing the signal on an overlapping rail. So we do everything by the book and place our end of the line signals, but when we place one of the exit block signals, we place it very close to this junction here, in an area where the rails are overlapping slightly. This causes the signal to break, telling us it loops onto itself, which is not really helpful since it doesn't really point to the real issue. And it gets worse. It also creates a division in the track, and now the signal can't be placed in a proper location within 12 meters of its previous location either. So the correct course of action here is to remove the track and place it again. Careful here, as deleting the track does not remove the signals, and placing the track in the same position will not connect it to any already existing signals. So you need to make sure you replace them. Broken node signal. Another type of broken signal is where the junction node itself becomes broken, and this happens for a strange reason. In this test, we place a block signal on this junction and see that it immediately becomes broken for no apparent reason. We delete one of the rails, we build it again, replace the sign, and it's still broken. We do the same with the other one, and it's fixed. What gives? Why does this happen? This one took me a while to figure out. It seems like the game differentiates whether a track signal is attached to the end of the previous segment or the beginning of the next one. And when creating the junction, this is controlled by where you click. If you click on the existing rail, it will attach it to something, and if you click in front of the rail, it will attach it to something else. The result is identical in both cases, but if you attach the rails going into this node in different ways, the signal placed in that junction will not work, and this can drive you crazy. The way to fix it is to delete the rails one by one and reattach them in the same way to be sure. And try to click in front of the existing rails. As I've noticed, it significantly improves the chances of fixing the issue. Also, make sure you replace the signal after each attempt, as it might not work properly if you don't. This brings us to the next reason signals might break. I call it the broken junction signal, because if you have a broken signal going in a big junction like this, in this case it's caused by the rail attachment point that I just explained earlier, all the entry signals will become broken and you might think there's something wrong. But fixing this one signal will automatically fix the others as well. Now let's talk a little bit about path signals. I'm sure you already know the golden rule that you place path signals on tracks entering a junction and block signals on tracks exiting a junction. And this will allow trains to pass simultaneously through that junction, provided their paths don't cross, by reserving a path for incoming trains. And they can break in the same ways that I've mentioned before, but there is an additional way they can break in. If you already have a signal junction that is using block signals, replacing one of them will cause all of the rest to become broken, and you might panic a little bit, but don't worry, it's perfectly normal. Path signals need other path signals to communicate with when reserving the train path, and they cannot work if a junction has block signals for incoming tracks, as it will not be able to control the trains coming in from that direction. Once you replace all of them, they should all magically fix themselves. Now I promised I'd show you how to apply your knowledge to a real junction, and we're gonna do this with this junction right now. So we start with step 1, which is making sure all of the exits have another end of the line signal after them. These will be broken, but we don't care about them as they're just temporary. Then start adding all the actual exit signs just after the junction. We immediately notice that something is wrong. This signal is not working. We think about our issue list. It's an exit sign, so it cannot be a broken junction. It's not a path signal either. It's not an end of the line, and it's not overlapping. So the only possible reason is that it's a broken node. We fix it by replacing some of the lines, clicking correctly this time, and it's fixed. We continue adding the exit signals until we finish and see that all of them have the same issue. After we fix them in the same way, we add the entry ones as well. And thankfully, none of them have the same issue. Oops, but we wanted to put path signals going in. So we have to delete them one by one and we start replacing them. And we immediately see that every signal shows an error now. But we don't worry about that because we know that the junction will be broken until we replace all of the signals. And just as expected, everything is fine after we've done replacing them. And that's how you signal a junction. Let me know if you ran into issues that I have not covered, and subscribe for more Satisfactory tips.